So, Craig, good to see you again. I understand you are in the depths of prep at the moment.
Yes, the depths
Maybe
of
share
hell.
that with us.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, good to see you. It's been
Yeah,
a while. So
yes, yeah.
so I have hit the extremely hard part of prep right now. So I'm 2.5 weeks out, and I'm
Only
still
two and a
fat.
half. Wow, that went by fast.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I'm still my body fat's not at a level where I'm happy with yet.
Okay.
And so that's triggering sort of all sorts of things, right? So obviously, I would say like the last 4 weeks of prep are usually the worst, and
Yeah.
I'd say sort of four weeks out to 1 or 2 weeks out is the worst period, because at least during the last week or whatever, you've got the excitement of the show, and um, everything's pretty much done by that point. You get a bit more food, that sort of stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really good. But when you're sitting there and you're 4 weeks out or 3 weeks out, then it's really, yeah, like you've got the training, you've got the cardio, and extremely low calories, um and yeah, it's of course you're getting closer to the show too. So mentally, I want to be close to what I would like to see on stage,
Right.
and the gap between where I want to be versus where I am
Yeah.
is really bad now.
Really.
Yeah, well, like, I guess
You were pretty ahead in the beginning, if I
I
recall.
was, yeah,
So
yeah.
something happened.
Not really, no.
No?
It's just, yeah. I think also because I'm pushing for I'm pushing for better conditioning this year,
Yep.
but that's been hard.
Higher demands on
So
yourself.
the my glutes, the fat on there is a bit stubborn. So
Okay.
yeah, which is fair enough, because I've had striated on the side before, but never like fully
Mm.
striated in. So that's what we're going for this time. That sort of cracked
Really hard
wall.
to get.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah, but not there yet.
Yeah.
So yeah. So of course, in order to do that, I've had to push really hard, and like the weights come down a lot.
Really.
So like I'm actually sitting here lighter than I ever was in my last prep for my show.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
still have fat to go. So that obviously then sends off, it's just a domino effect of negative thinking,
Mm.
right? Where you're just like, okay, so I've been training hard for 3 years, watching every single meal that I've eaten,
Mm-hmm.
trained religiously, done everything and more that is required
Right.
to grow. And yet I'm sitting here and I'm, smaller than I was last prep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Do
yeah,
you feel you're actually smaller or just lighter? Because if you're lower body fat, obviously going to be lighter.
it's lighter, but of course, I don't, like, you look at the scale and you see the number,
Yeah.
and that's kind of all you got to go on, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and then also I'm flat as a pancake right now, right? Because
Yeah.
we don't have, like, there's not a lot of carbs in my meal or in
Right.
my plan. I mean, granted, there's probably more than some people get, but
Hmm.
that said, I'm on, like, I've got carbs in my pre and my post, and that's it. So
Do you
yeah.
do any intra with carbs or no?
What's that?
You do any intra with carbs?
No,
No.
that's been pulled as well. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like 75 pre, 75 post for a total 150.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like, yeah. So I'm flat most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you see the scale going lighter, and this is actually helping me to think about this,
Mm.
scale going lighter and then also being incredibly flat, obviously the conclusion that you wind up drawing is I'm smaller than I was last time. So,
Yeah.
we'll have to see how that turns out when I do start to get like some proper carbs in and fill back up. Because if I remember correctly, I think like when I'm properly carved up, that's like at least 2 kilograms. So
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah.
So that would
That'll be all fullness too, that carb up. I mean, it's definitely tough because when you're deep into it, and even the best of us, you play head games with yourself. There's really very little way to avoid that. And then you step on the scale. The scale is always objective,
Yeah.
Right. It's a hard number. That number may be different things that day. It could be a little water, it could be a little whatever, that day. So it can be off, but it's still a hard number that you can't really argue with. If that number is lower than you want it to be, it can be very disconcerting.
You panic.
Well, panic. Okay, we'll say panic. I said disconcerting.
Yeah, but like in my case, right? Like as you know, my struggle is to put size on.
Right. Yeah.
And it always has been. I'm not a big guy.
Yeah.
So when I see that scale going lower, that just sets off all sorts of panic reactions. Because it's like,
rather demoralizing. Yeah.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm talking about a few hours ago.
Yeah.
So, I was seriously questioning my life decisions to this point with respect to competing and all that sort of stuff. And, I'm at that age now where like the most important thing for me is if I can continue to progress and continue to improve on my previous showing, then I'm fine.
Yep.
The moment I can't improve, that's when it's time to hang stuff up.
Yeah, that's when I retired. Exactly that point. Like I got to the point where I knew I couldn't get better. I retired a week before I turned 50.
Yeah. And
I can't push myself harder than this.
Mm-hmm.
The benefits will not return on that push. So it's just time to step away because I need that personal sense of accomplishment, regardless of how I place.
Yeah.
I did better than last time because my efforts were better than last time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's I think once you once you've gotten over the I have to win every show mentality that we all start with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you get into it and you're more into the grind where you're into your 5th year or 6th year of competing.
Yeah.
And, then it really becomes like, are you improving or not? Because that's actually a more important metric than like who else shows up. Because that's whether you win or lose a show really just has to do with who else shows up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So so that's really the big question. And, we'll find out. I won't know until later.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I have to be heavier than last time. Like that's not a big deal if I'm lighter than next time, but like significantly better condition, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Because I do think that my shape has improved. So, that's some sign that things have been working, etc.
Yeah.
But, that all kind of, that will come to pass eventually. But as of right now, that's just nowhere in sight. And it just feels like, like the, so the cap for my weight class in classic physique is 84.9 kilos, which is 187 pounds.
Okay.
And I woke up this morning at 78.5, which is like 173 or something. So
you have room to load,
cap, right?
You have room to load.
What's that?
You have room to load safely, that's for sure.
No, that's the thing. Like I had no I wasn't like delusional thinking that I would have to squeeze to get under the cap, as I've mentioned in the past, right?
Yeah.
I figure that I need to be within 10 pounds of the cap, when I'm on stage, right? To be competitive.
Yeah. Because it is height as well, right? So
it's height and weight. Like, so the weight that you're allowed is dependent on your height.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like I'm talking 10 pounds against a guy the same height as me.
Yeah.
It's not 10 pounds in open class where
important consideration.
Yeah. So it's like a very like, I don't know, call it equal playing field, right? In terms of you only have so much weight to work with.
Yeah.
But like, for example, I know that like the guys that I was on stage against in the Amateur Olympia, a lot of them were like dehydrated and depleted to make weight.
Right.
For the division. And then when they carved up after, they were just monsters. It was just like, how did these guys make it in,
Yeah, it's amazing you carved that fast because that in Japan it's a very short time. You don't have
it was
yeah, you don't have like a Friday weigh in and a Saturday show or anything like that. Yeah.
No, but these guys just like, they were massive. So so knowing that there's people like that waiting in the wings, kind of it makes me think that like, especially in a master's division, if I can get very well conditioned and be sort of within 10 pounds of the cap or something like that,
Yeah.
then maybe I could be competitive.
Yeah.
But assuming that like the guys that had to squeeze didn't actually really have to squeeze, you know, and they're not coming in bone shredded, because I find it hard to believe that there are so many people out there that would be like at, you know, in their late 40s that are like able to, you know, shred down, bone shredded, and like just barely make weight type of thing, right? I think that's a bit of a big ask.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll have to see. I'm going to make the call after the regional.
Okay.
Just in terms of like what I look like, but yeah.
When you did the Olympia, you did Olympia last year, 2 years ago?
No, that was 2000. It was the first one they had.
I did 19.
Yeah, it was 18, I think.
18? Okay.
Yeah. No. It was 2019. 2019, I did Classic. I did Open.
Okay.
You did Masters the day before.
I did Masters. Yeah.
And then, that was the year that I had torn my ACL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I looked really bad on stage. Yeah. It was horribly, but lesson learned. Yeah. Don't rush the recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Which I've been good with since.
Yeah, no, you have been. You've behaved well. I think you've taken care of yourself, which is good. Long term, definitely important. You know,
numerous injuries does that to a man. You learn how to handle them better.
Yeah, teaches you like, you do have to take this seriously. You do have to slow down a little bit, but it's better in the long term. Even if you want to compete, like you can compete longer and more if you do take it easy in the beginning. So it's worth it. Yeah.
So that's but yeah, it's like I really feel like the state I'm at is just, I don't know if I've improved or not. So that's like the biggest concern in my mind right now.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to tell though, isn't it? Like if in 2 weeks and you want to get leaner, you're flat, you don't have a chance. I mean, I don't know if your coach does like a test load to see how your body responds and how much, and you get a peek
I don't
what might look like. No, don't do that. No.
Judging by the amount of cottage cheese on my butt right now.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
It's so frustrating too, because like the lower back is gone, the hamstrings are gone, and it's just cottage cheese sitting there.
Yeah, it's just tough because you don't have it take off anywhere else. You just got to keep going after that one area, and it's going to take from everywhere else anyways. So that's the toughest thing. Yeah. Those people who have like a perfectly even fat distribution are truly blessed, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I'm not one of those either.
Yeah, no. Like I got clients that are like, you know, they got striated glutes in the off season.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And that's even when they're like, you know, heavy. Right? So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they got a lot of tissue to do that too, though, right? I mean,
no, absolutely. And that's part of the reason why I worked on my glutes so much, right?
Yeah.
And you know, at least the feedback that I've had on that, and in terms of like when I look at myself, I can see that my glutes are much bigger than they used to be.
That's good.
Which is good, but not big enough, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can keep progressing, you know, that's the important thing, right? So I think you made the pictures I saw earlier, so you made progress putting on mass. That's
I'm always very good at losing it in the last couple of weeks. So this is a standing joke for me. It's like, you know, I look great at like 4 weeks out, and then I just fucking shrivel up and die. Excuse my French.
But do you think you really lose the mass? You're just so flat and dehydrated, it's not showing. Because
I don't know.
Which is pretty hard.
I mean, in theory, I shouldn't be losing it.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, there's enough like support to make sure I'm not. But you know,
it may look like it, right, and feel like it, but once you get loaded, I'd expect you. I mean, I'm not you. I'm not your coach, but I would have confidence you're going to come on stage with more muscle than last year, based on what I've seen earlier. Because every diet you go through roughly the same, even though you're trying to get a little leaner this time.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the pattern of how you strip down, and then what you show up with on stage. So just you should be better this year. You should be bigger. You know.
Yeah, my coach had good words today.
Yeah, good.
Just make it through today.
Just make it one day at a time. Yeah.
And like that's seriously, that's exactly where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
How are you managing training now? While you're really
same shit,
same stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You able to still hit
I've sworn a couple times. I really didn't want to do that. Sorry, I'm tired.
No problem.
Yeah, no, the same stuff, and Yeah, no changes in training. The rage, the self-hate that I have is actually driving very good workouts. So yeah. And then for the cardio stuff, that's just been so easy since discovering that whole techno hack.
You mentioned.
Today I did not want to do it at all, and then threw on my favorite DJ and took me on a journey. And then half an hour later, I was off, and pretty dead actually. Like after I've trained and done cardio,
Yeah.
I am like in a really, really bad state. Like
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, I am
Be physically and mentally exhausted.
Oh, just everything is dead. Yeah. I think because like when you're training or when you're doing when you're actually doing the cardio,
Mhm.
it was like, endorphins are running through your system and stuff, so you're good.
Yeah.
And then it's like you wipe down the cardio machine after, get into the change room, sit down on the bench, and then just don't want to move.
Yeah. No. I think that's super mental too. I always believe that, the body kind of knows what you're doing or when you have to do it. And when you have to go to a task that you're trained to do, it'll step up and get it done. You'll stay focused and stuff. But once that focus is off, and it's just like the body's like, even though you don't want it to be, it'll just go, okay, completed. I can bring myself back
Now
down.
I can collapse. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, that's very true. Yeah, there is. I do definitely sense that as well. Because the workouts have been pretty good.
That's good. You should be holding tissue, Yeah.
Yeah, no, hopefully.
It's just gonna be a bit dry and a bit flat right now, but that'll come back. Yeah.
A couple of little things are, a little bit of niggles and strains and stuff here and there, but just like watching that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your past injuries, I'm sure you're going to be as careful as you possibly can be. I mean,
yeah.
Well, not going to do anything foolish.
Doesn't help that I have a partially torn rotator right now too. But
is that from before? I mean, still kind of hanging.
No, this was new. Apparently, yeah, it was. So when I went to go get my 1-year checkup, MRI on the bicep, from the bicep repair, when he's looking at it, he goes, "Oh, guess what? What? You have a partially torn rotator." I'm like, "Oh shit. Do I need surgery?" He's like, "No." Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to be careful on like the pressing exercises because that's where it gets strained the most.
Yeah.
Kind of like I find like I can feel the strain now. So the point is when I'm bringing down, and then it feels like because it's a bit weak, it feels almost like my shoulder, the ball part of the shoulder, like kind of shifts forward.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Strain on the front of the delt. So yeah, and that's right where the part is I love to tear. So yeah.
Okay, so you can really feel that kind of looseness in there.
Yeah. It's a bit of instability. Yeah. So I've been adding like prehab type work before actually starting training and stuff, like external rotations, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
To try to keep things under control, and then pull aparts, like cable rear delt stuff. And I think that's been helping a little bit. But yeah,
that's
just
good.
Generally another thing too. I found that if I press with dumbbells and I keep them in a little bit closer, it's easier than if I have them out. And I think that's just because of the angle of the joint here. So yeah.
That's probably a reason why like powerlifters bench with the elbows in. It's a more
absolutely
stable position, Yeah. As opposed to bodybuilders who do it wide because they want to get more development,
Yeah. Well, it's more development until you tear your rotator. And then,
yes. Yeah.
And it's negative. Yeah.
You gotta be careful about that. Sure. So your training hasn't changed at all. What's been the latest adjustments in your diet?
Yeah. So the diets are, I used to have like one meal that was no carb.
Okay.
Out of 6, and intra carbs as well.
Yeah.
And that's been changed to just pre and post, no intra.
Just 75 grams, I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. So 150 per day.
Yeah.
So is that taking
training on the rest days, like cardio only days? No carbs.
Oh yeah, I can believe that. Yeah. Kind of So are you just taking that off the top as calories and macros as well, or protein being pushed up at all to accommodate, or is that staying?
No, protein's pretty stable. Yeah,
Okay.
but I always consume a lot anyways.
Yeah.
What 320?
That's a good amount. That's more than I do off season. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, 320 for a guy who apparently only weighs like 170 pounds soaking wet now. So yeah.
Dry with no glycogen. Dry with glycogen. That's probably at least 5 pounds right there, minimum 5 to 7 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some moisture and some glycogen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's that whole thing about like a gram of glycogen attracting 4 grams of carbohydrate, right? For
Right.
a total increase, or sorry, 4 grams of water for a total of 5 grams per thing. And yeah, I think I have about 500 grams. So
yeah, you should have at least 5 grams.
So yeah, so that's why it usually results in about 2.5 kilos for me.
Yeah.
2.5 kilos. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be about right. I think the research I've read, at least, like even just the average person out there stores at least 300 to 400 grams, 90 or so in the liver, of course. But more muscle tissue you have, the more you're gonna hold it, intramuscularly, more glycogen.
Well, then by that metric, it makes sense that I'm about 10% higher.
Beating up on himself again.
Yeah, the negative self-speech.
Well, 2.5 weeks out, I think most of us do it, even if we don't share it with other people. We're doing it quietly.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that was kind of like kind of one of the things that I wanted to like. Is I think that I'm probably one of the more positive people like out there. Like I'm generally, always looking for the bright side of something and always trying to stay positive and stuff.
Yeah.
But like at 2.5 weeks out, even I can get negative.
Yeah.
Basically, that's like the message that. If there was one message that I wanted people to understand, and it's okay, it's going to be gone. I know that. The key is just to, as my coach said, take it like one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
This is where being a recovered alcoholic helps too, because well practiced in this. So yeah, but it's just like just make it through one day at a time, and then eventually the show's going to be there, and then then after that you can look back on it and see how it is, right? So
yeah. I mean,
the worst part is really right now. So
yeah, I mean, for better or for worse, like a goal, like a contest, is really helpful. I mean, you can look at it like that's the end, or you can look at it like that's my next checkpoint to go do something next. But whatever it is, it's kind of like a milestone you'll hit, and then you can kind of reassess. So mentally, that makes a huge difference.
I think that's the right way to look at shows. Actually, is as a milepost, right? Like because it's like none of us are competing in the Olympia,
right?
So
it's not our job.
If it was the Olympia, that would be the goal.
Yeah.
But until you get to there, right, it's just another milepost.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of like why I'm saying I'm going to make a decision about what to do with the pro qualifier and stuff.
Right.
After the regional show, because if I go to the regional show and I show up and everyone is like way bigger and way more shredded than me, then it's not going to make much sense to do the pro qualifier, right?
Well, you can still give it a shot for yourself. I guess it depends. Yeah.
But I mean, at the prices they charge these days.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. It's like what was interesting to me is the entry fees are in US dollars.
That's really interesting.
$250 US per division.
Wow, that's way up just from 2019.
Yeah. So if I want to compete in 40 plus and 45 plus, that's $500.
Holy guacamole.
US.
Yeah,
that's like
a lot of money.
80,000 yen for those of us that are stuck here with the Japanese peso.
Yeah, just peso. Yeah, that is.
So there's that, and then there's the tanning, and then there's the spectator tickets and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's just so much.
I did not realize it was that expensive. I don't remember what it was in 2019, but I want to say like 125 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
And not US dollars. I mean, like
no, that was like yen.
Yeah.
Mind you, that was a lot closer to $125 than two, though, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I think it was like 125 back then or something.
Before they depreciated the currency 35%.
Yeah. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that myself right now. That's a different topic.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're well diversified. I don't have mixed feelings at all.
I don't have mixed feelings at all. No.
Just
Well, especially when you're paying for your tickets in US dollars, it definitely makes it more real for you.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a sneaky little move there, but yeah.
I guess that's how the governing bodies can maintain a specific revenue stream that they project, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, it all feeds back to the US. So
yeah.
that's why.
Is Manion coming to be the head judge again this time, or?
No. So the head judge is going to be Sandy.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. The head women's coach or judge. So
okay,
that's going to be really neat. Like, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
So what do you get 2.5 weeks left?
Yeah.
The usual rigmarole, like from here to there.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, normally there's like some sort of depletion or whatever.
Yep. If you need depletion, at like no carbs, you don't really need to deplete. You just get a moderate load. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So,
yeah.
We're just like really just trying to get the fat off. And I think once the fat's off, then we'll worry about that.
Right.
But for now, it's just getting the fat off. And that's
good.
That's that. Hopefully, it'll happen soon. Like the weight has been dropping precipitously at a significant pace. At about between 1.5 and 2 kilos a week. So
that's astonishing. I could never do that. I have a hard time losing weight.
No, it's I mean, so like I was 78.8 this morning and I was 80.6 on Friday.
Wow.
Okay. That's 1.8 kilos in 5 nights.
Yeah.
No, I have a gift.
You did say you're a special talent.
My superpower is losing weight. Yeah. So
I think I had to get to below 1,200 calories to get down, and I still probably wasn't as down as I really wanted to be. That's your protein, I think, right there.
I was gonna say. I think I'm below there, and then I was like, no, actually, my protein alone is bigger.
Yeah, so the quick math there. 300 times 4, that's smaller. Yeah.
No, I don't have to get down that far. That's for sure. But yeah, it's pretty intense, and that doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. I'm sure. Yeah, I think especially when I say that, comparing myself to you, it's kind of remarkable because those of us who are in bodybuilding or nutrition field or whatever, we talk about dieting, and there's people out there who have trouble dieting, losing weight or whatever, and usually it's because they're missing something or they're not recording properly, or something's not getting done, or the NEAT is low or whatever. If you look at you and me, like we're both know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? We have a good sense of what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. But yet still, you can lose weight rapidly.
Yeah.
And I really have struggled to get it off. Although I don't think either one of us is doing things wrong. It shows a big gap in how people's bodies work.
That's where the whole individuality thing comes in, right? And and then like when I sit there and I think about like how much mass I've put on, that's another thing, because like I know for damn sure that I've done everything I was supposed to do, and I've done everything that I'm supposed to do for 10 years. I've been like, I'm not talking about just like, I've had a coach legitimately for 10 years now, where I've been following meal plans, following training programs, et cetera, et cetera. So like, I know that I know that I haven't been slacking.
No, you're very disciplined about it,
Yeah, no, and that's on and off season.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case and I'm like unable to put size on, then, like that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. In bodybuilding, we see more of people who can and can't put size on, because ultimately like that ceiling is different for different people, right? Yeah. But when you get to talk about the fat loss thing, we kind of assume logically that that's across the board the same. I mean, calories in, calories out, all that kind of stuff, right? And I believe that, technically speaking, but like I say, just two of us talking proves it's not as simple as it seems, which I'm somewhat loath to admit, because I want it to follow the science and that.
I want it to be math as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just doesn't work that way sometimes.
Yeah. No, and I think that like if you look at a lot of the people that are trying to be nerds about bodybuilding now with like optimal reps and optimal set numbers and all this kind of stuff, I get people asking me all the time now, like, oh, how many sets do you do? I don't fucking know. Right? Right?
Yeah.
How many are you counting? Are we counting my sets of 4 building up to my working weight? Are we counting those as sets or not? Or like is one of those things, is it only one set, my top set, that you care about, or is it the top set and the back off set, or is it top set, back off set, and the warm-up sets?
Which different people maybe define differently as well. I've run into that more than once.
No, so it's I don't I don't know, but yeah, so the guys that are trying to boil everything down to numbers and stuff, I think are missing this stuff that we're talking about right now, because it's like there's huge individual variability. I think maybe that's something we can talk about in the future too. Is I think the only way you can understand these things truly is if you actually have done it yourself and have known people who've done it, like seriously. I think people are doing like online coaching here, they're at a distant amount, that are not deeply engaged, won't have enough experience and data to really show how varied this is and really know how to handle it. Formulas won't always work. So definitely.
So,
no, the experience is a really big thing.
Exactly. So do you want to take a little break, Craig, and maybe we'll come back and talk more about this? We got 30 minutes in on this one.
No, that's let's do that then.
Why don't we take a break and we'll get back to you in just a minute? All right.
Okay, sounds great.
All right.
Cheers.